Hey everyone, I want to recommend a podcast. Hard Knocks is a show about resilience, self-discovery, and finding meaning after chaos, hosted by Amanda Knox. Each week, Amanda sits down with fascinating guests, writers, thinkers, artists, to explore how we learn, grow, and rebuild ourselves after life knocks us down. Amanda brings humor, honesty, and hard-earned perspective to every conversation, drawing on her own experience of being wrongfully convicted and rebuilding her life. Amanda was a guest on Life in 7 Songs in one of our most moving episodes, opening up about how music became a lifeline during her years of wrongful imprisonment. On our show, she spoke candidly about turning pain into wisdom and also about how we're all so much more than our worst moments. If you liked that episode, you'll love her show, available wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Jesse Alejandro Cottrell.
And I'm Emily Dreyfus, and this is Pacific Standard Time.
We have stories from all over the state of California, all the big battles that are happening here.
Prop 50,
housing affordability,
tech,
and immigration.
And we're really excited to bring you the stories about how California is dealing with what it means to be alive in 2025.
Subscribe to Pacific Standard Time, a new weekly show from the San Francisco Standard.
We'll have new episodes every Wednesday starting November 19th, wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm a softie when it comes to songs, absolutely. Not when it comes to Elon fucking Musk. Rocket Man, go for it. Get to Mars and leave us the fuck alone.
You're listening to Life in 7 Songs from the San Francisco Standard. I'm Sophie Behrman. My guest this week is the longtime journalist and media entrepreneur, Kara Swisher, who's been covering Silicon Valley and the internet since the days of dial-up, and whose fearless, no-nonsense style has made her a force to be reckoned with in the tech world. Over the past 3 decades, from Kara's early days at the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal to her years creating groundbreaking tech news sites, conferences, and hit podcasts, to writing opinions for the New York Times, Kara's made a name for herself, interviewing nearly all the titans of technology. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and yes, Elon Musk as well. Kara Swisher, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I want to dive in right away with one of your songs, Taylor Swift's The Last Great American Dynasty. I had a big laugh when you texted that pic, and I read it in a very deadpan voice. You said, I also had a marvelous time ruining everything. Just explain.
Well, that's the big line of the reveal in the song is that she bought the house this troublemaker was in, but it's this sort of rich, I think 20s person or maybe earlier who had become wealthy and sort of spurned society and bought this giant mansion. And then Taylor Swift ends up owning it. She had a marvelous time ruining everything. And Taylor Swift says that about herself. And I feel it's a great way of saying I like being a troublemaker in a good way.
There goes the last great American dynasty. Who knows if she never showed up, what could have been? There goes the maddest woman this town has ever seen. She had a marvelous time ruining everything.
I like history songs, by the way. I like stories, and she's a great storyteller, obviously. And the songs, I like a lot of her songs, but the ones I like best are her story songs. It's just great. Because this idea of these dynasties in history is great to me. And that's what tech is now. We'll be singing of it, just like the robber barons. And so she reminds us that it's sort of been and done and yet it is here again kind of thing. And I like that idea of using past history to sort of inform us on the future and the present, essentially.
She's also a pretty phenomenal businesswoman who doesn't suffer fools, And
no, I love that.
So I'm sure you like that too.
Yeah, she's an entrepreneur. One of my great wishes, and I've said this to her PR person a number of times, to paint a PR. She's more than PR. She's an astonishing executive for Taylor Swift. I'd like to do an interview with her and Dolly Parton together, but not talk about creativity or music. I want to talk about their business acumen. Both of them are really phenomenal entrepreneurs. Dolly Parton owns so much IP, it's crazy, and is doing all kinds of interesting, and back when she was doing innovative things. And Taylor Swift is certainly a really world-class entrepreneur in terms of how she puts together her shows and owns her stuff. And she's one of the most undersung entrepreneurs going right now. And of course, her success is quite obvious.
I would listen to that. Let's hope that comes through.
Yeah, I wish. That'll be, and then I'm quitting. After
That'll be the pinnacle, right?
I will. I don't want to talk about her boyfriends or Dolly's sweet Tennessee home. That's fine. I'm not interested, you two. I want to talk about you killer business people that you are. So
absolutely. So, Kara, you are known for being super direct, not mincing words. And I've heard you say that you've basically been that way for as long as you remember. What's an example of that from childhood?
I read very early. They thought I was not a genius, but I was very advanced in my reading and math and everything else when I was younger. Everyone caught up with me eventually, so I didn't stay a genius, unfortunately. But I was a very early reader and speaker, and so I was in. I think it was must be second grade. I forget. And I walked out. My mom had to come to the school, and they said, "Why did you walk out of class?" And I said, "I already knew that." Like, they were boring me. And so I would always say what I thought, even if it had a cost. I just felt it was easier. It's easier to tell the truth because you don't forget it.
So you chose Sera by Doris Day as one of your songs. What memory does it bring up for you?
This associates with my grandmother. I spent a lot of time. My dad died when I was young, and my grandmother was critical to my upbringing. And she used to love this song and used to sing it. And she was Italian, and her parents were immigrants, and my grandfather actually was born in Italy. And she used to love to sing this song, and she used to sing it to me all the time. And then we'd dance in her kitchen. And she was a housewife. She wasn't, she never really moved more than, within 20 miles of our home her whole life. And she just loved this song. It just is very emotional for me to listen to it because it reminds me of her.
When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be.
Yeah, I know. It makes you dance, right?
You just kind of want to sway.
It's a really great song. I love the little thing at the beginning. I'm not a music person, but that little Italian, you feel like you're in an Italian restaurant or something. But I think she liked it whenever I was worried, because when my dad died, I think I was worried. And she always said, "Que sera, sera," what's going to be, going to be. And I think it was a really good thing for a kid to learn, right? Like, don't worry about it. And so I love this song. It makes me cry. One of the memories I have of my grandmother is dancing, and she was sort of a round little Italian lady, but she was as light as her meatballs were, by the way. She had made amazing meatballs when she danced this, and she would dance in the kitchen at night by herself, and I just thought that was a lovely. She wasn't light on her feet, but she was when she sang this song.
You said it almost makes you want to cry. I'm just curious where
it does make
emotions. Where are those emotions coming from? Like,
I loved her. She was amazing. She really helped me in a very difficult, not just a difficult time. She was a very loving person, and I had more difficulties with my mom, and so she was. When your parent dies, it's really hard, and I was 5, and so I spent a lot of summers with her. And she was just great. And she was an amazing cook, too. Not fancy, but delicious. Everything she made was delicious. So,
you mentioned that your dad died when you were 5 years old. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about him?
Well, I write about him a lot in my book. It's, one of the things that people are surprised by, because they thought it was going to be sort of a tech book, but it's a memoir, obviously. He was amazing, very kind, good. He was a doctor. He died at 34. Can you imagine having 3 kids and starting your life? He had just gotten out of the Navy, which paid for his medical school and his college. He did not have money. And he had just literally gotten a great job and died, bought his first house. I think of that a lot. And I think it's one of the reasons I'm not very patient with assholes. I'm like, I don't have time for you. Like, let's just get going.
Because life is short.
I'm a very life is short person. More than that, it's like you'll be dead in 50 years if you're lucky, or kind of thing, or whatever your age happens. Not you seem young, but I hope not. But you know what I mean. I have a very good sense of mortality, and I think that's healthy.
I know 5 is really young. Do you have any memories of him?
A lot, but not in great detail, right? I mean, one of the things that's amazing, and I think a lot about with computers, wouldn't it be great to be able to download your memories? There's a lot of fictional books like that, but we're not like computers, of course, where you can recover things. But no, not great memories. And sometimes I think about being hypnotized to remember, but little bits and pieces.
Yeah. One thing that you knew about him, was that he had been in the military, and that's something that you sort of wanted to model yourself after for a while.
Yes, I did. I would still am regretful. I don't have many regrets. That's one of them. I wish I had served in the military. I really thought it was important. I think it always surprises people. Because I'm quite liberal, but at the same time, I think it's really important to serve your country. And I think everyone at every level of society should be part of a national service. It brings us together as a group of people. I mean, basically, right now, all we have left is the Super Bowl, I guess. And even now, we're fighting about that. Like, oh, I don't like Travis Kelce because he's dating Taylor Swift, whatever. It's ridiculous that we don't have more analog community things to have of commonality. And you saw that for many years. I just feel like I would have been a good leader. I think it would have opened people up. And so I wanted to, but I couldn't because I was gay at the time. It was not allowed. Gays were not allowed. Well, they were there, but they were hiding, and I'm not a hider, so.
Well, you chose another song for your early years from the 1972 Broadway musical Pippin. Which is about a young prince on his search for meaning and significance. I read that online. I haven't actually seen Pippin.
It is. It's great. They just revived it. It. I love musical theater. This isn't the greatest show I've seen. I've seen so many wonderful. My mom used to take me to Broadway a lot and off Broadway, and so I loved it. I went and saw this show in the original. I just love being in the theater. I love the theater so much. It has so many good memories for me.
You chose a song called "Corner of the Sky." What's it about?
It's about, this is about Pippin, who's the son of Charlemagne, and there's a lot of very funny songs. I like all the songs in the show. Actually, I know them by heart because I used to listen to the album over and over. I love this song because I have a distinct memory of listening to the song and looking out a window. We used to do things like that back before cell phones. You didn't look at your screen. The screen was the window. And, I knew I was gay, and I wasn't upset by it, but it was upsetting because you had to hide back then, very much so.
How old were you when you knew that?
This is whenever Pippin came out. I have
72.
To look it up. 72, so I was 10 years old. But I just was like, how can you find where you're going? And I loved that song for that. I mean, I remember thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm gay. Like, how am I going to find where I'm going? It sounds so dumb to think gay things weigh on you, but it really did back then. It was just, every time I think about it, it makes me sick to the amount of hiding and furtiveness that happens and shame. I wasn't ashamed per se, but people tried to make you feel ashamed, that's for sure, including my mom.
Well, there's this great line in the song, of course, gotta find my corner of the sky. So I'll just play a little bit of it.
Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky.
It's kind of corny, but there's a line that so many men seem destined to settle for something small. I think that's the line, and I won't rest until I know I have it all. I just was like, I could sit on the window. I could fit, and I did fit, actually. I was very good. I had boyfriends. I did very well at school. I fit in, but I hated that I fit in, right? Like some people who are gay or different, they can't hide, right? I was really good at hiding. Like my boyfriend was literally the football star. Like it was terrible.
Wow.
Years later, a bunch of people, guys I dated, came up to me and they're like, "You were the best girlfriend we ever had." And I said, "That's because I was utterly uninterested in you and I didn't care if you liked me or not. I didn't say, 'Do you like me?'" They're like, "Yeah, that was great." I was like, "You should date more lesbians who could give a fuck." You know what I mean? And I knew I was gay and I fit in so well to the prevailing straight girl, do well at school world. And so I thought I love that song for this because I just didn't like that. I wanted to be the expression of myself, which I thought was important.
Well, yeah, for someone who is so much herself, it's unusual to hear that you held this duality for.
Well, you had to. I can't tell you. My sons are always like, "Oh, why didn't you just say so?" I was like, "You couldn't say so. There was so much of a price, and when I did come out, there was a price."
And was that in college that you came out?
In my 20s, actually, in my early 20s. But what was interesting is you think you're going to pay more of a price, and my brothers were great when I had to come out. I had to come out in a rather loud way, but my mom was terrible and continued to be for many years to come. But my grandmother was amazing. She was like, I don't care. Like, she didn't care. She was, I love you. And so I was shocked by that because she was old school, right? Catholic, very religious, went to mass every day, and she just didn't care.
Pivoting a little bit, in your memoir, you tell a story of how you landed your first paid gig in journalism at the Washington Post while you were still in college. And I loved reading that. So I'm wondering if you could share it.
Oh, yeah. So I was working for the Koya at Georgetown University. I'd started working for the newspaper there. And I got very into what was happening in El Salvador, a lot of the murders of people there. I wanted very much to be a foreign correspondent at that time. That changed over time. But I had written this terrible killer. It had been very controversial, arrived on campus. And so I wrote a story about it, and then I saw the Washington Post, and I read the Washington Post every day because I loved it, I revered it. And it was full of errors, and I was furious. And so I called them, and I managed to get the Metro editor on the line. His name was Larry Kramer. And I just reamed him out. I was like, how dare you do a bad job? You're the Washington Post. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. And of course, they sent the worst person there. They didn't send their top reporters to cover a campus speech, essentially. But I thought they should, if they're going to do it. And so I yelled at him a bit, and he's like, why don't you come down there and say this to my face? I said, oh, I'll do that. And I went down and said it to his face, and he hired me because I was so irritating. And they hired me because I think I had I really cared for readers to get the right information. And so I did that, and I got my first paying job at the Post. And then I ended up being an intern there, et cetera, et cetera. It sort of launched me. The Washington Post really launched me. But that call made a big difference in my life. But I was genuinely pissed. We used to make phone calls before, not text.
Right, right. The days when you would actually pick up a phone and get the editor.
I think he was shocked. I think he was genuinely shocked. Someone took the minute to, hand it to him.
It's time for a quick break. When we're back, Kara reveals a musical obsession that might just surprise you. Next song, not actually quite sure where it fits in your timeline, but you chose Landslide.
Landslide, yeah.
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, I love this song. Everybody loves this song. I just, it reminds me of every bad relationship I've ever, they've not been bad. One, two. Every relationship I have a song with, if I think about different people, it's such a beautiful, Stevie Nicks is amazing. And I just listened to that album over and over. I think the whole albums, all the Fleetwood Mac albums were critical to my, high school career.
And to me, it's really about, growing and change. And I guess I'm curious, you said in your text, it relates to every era of your life, but what era of your life did you feel like that growth, that change?
High school, sitting on a couch of a friend's house and being sad. Again, it was about being gay. I liked someone very much, but I couldn't say, right? It's about relationships. And this reminds me, this is of the many songs I listened to about relationships. This was the one. You're starting on adult relationships when you're in your high school years. You're starting to think about what an adult relationship is. Even my sons love this song now. There's songs that just stick with you. Stick with you.
Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life?
such a good song. I know every word of it. I'm not going to sing it because why would you sing over Stevie Nicks? Like, come on. She just deserves to sing the whole thing. First of all, her voice. I just love her voice. Like that's, I'm very attracted to voices. I like certain people's voices, and hers is just fantastic here. And it's her singing it. And one of the great things about the song is it makes you think about your life, right? You can't avoid thinking about your life. It's also a beautiful song, the guitar and everything else. It's just pretty. It's just pretty. Sometimes songs are just pretty and sad in a good way, not in a weepy way, but it's sad in a profound way, I think.
So you said this song leads to adulthood. Let's talk about technology. I want to talk a little bit about your interest and fascination with tech, essentially where it came from. I know in your memoir you mentioned, for example, like when you started covering this, Bezos had 6 employees. Most people weren't interested in this stuff. So just paint a picture for me of like, how did you know? Why were you interested?
It's interesting because I was very attuned to propaganda and I understood it was a shift. If you understood communications shifts, whether it was the Gutenberg press was critical, radio to television, telegraph to radio, writing papyrus, like stuff like that. Like think about the Alexandria Library was destroyed. But it was the font of knowledge of the day. And so I'm always paying attention to communications tools. And when I saw the internet, and I was a very young person at the Washington Post, I was like, oh, this is going to change everything. And so I just saw it. I just saw that everything would be digitized. Why wouldn't it?
You pulled the plug on your home phone before a lot of people. There's this great scene in your memoir of you stubbornly trying to make mobile phones work. Maybe they weren't quite there.
I just got the new iPhone. They're still a pain in the ass to shift over. I wrote someone pretty high up at Apple. I'm like, transitions still suck, friends. Like, what the fuck? And I'm really good at it. In any case, I just feel like it's really important to pay attention to these things because they have implications that are bigger, right? Yeah. In terms of our society. And when I saw these people, I had an offer to cover the White House. That was the top of reporters, right? The White House, the president. And I thought these people are going to be more important than the president. Like you could see it.
You could see it.
Yes, but I think anybody, if they really were paying attention to history, if you have just a glancing knowledge of history or spend time doing it. The problem is many people, especially in the United States, just don't pay attention to history. I do. I really do.
Well, but Carrie, you tried to warn, at the Wall Street Journal, you tried to warn them about the advent of digital and in a way of helping. And what it sounds like is they didn't listen.
Well, they don't want to change. If you're doing something the way you're doing it, you can't imagine it doing anything different, right? This was working. We're making money. They were making a lot of money. And, I wrote a big column in the New York Times a couple years ago where I said, humans driving cars will be like owning a horse. Like, why? Maybe for fun kind of stuff, but we will be autonomous by, at a certain point. And, oh my God, people went crazy. It's never going to happen. I'm like, no, it's going to happen. It's just a question of when.
So one of the songs you chose is a Carrie Underwood song, Jesus Take the Wheel.
Love that song.
How come?
I love country music like nobody's fucking business. I really do. Trisha Yearwood, Garth Brooks, all of them, and especially pop country music. I love indie country music too, and I love indie, folk music. Anyway, I just love country music. And my favorite one is Jesus Take the Wheel. I'm not particularly religious. My family members who are, but I always think that, whenever things go wrong, I have a very good attitude about how life goes on without you and beyond you and everything else. And so I'm not religious, but I do believe, we're just here for this short time. And it's whenever something goes wrong, I'm a very good person to have in a crisis because I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel.
It's kind of like que sera, sera.
Yeah, right. It is. It'll be. And Jesus, take the wheel. So whenever there's with my kids and they're losing their minds, I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. And they're like, Mom, stop it. I'm like, no, just relax, will you?
Jesus, take the wheel. Take it from my hands, 'cause I can't do this on my own. I'm letting go, so give me one more chance. Save me from this road I'm on.
We have to put our hands in the air. I always do this. Jesus, take the wheel. Like,
There we go.
I do sing to
Oh,
this.
they
I
must be
love Carrie.
mortified, your kids.
They are mortified because I do it when I'm driving. Like sometimes when I was in San Francisco, we lived in San Francisco for my older kids. And there's these hills I used to take them up. There's one hill street actually near the Castro. And we would go up it. And I have a stick shift. I'm one of those people. And I would go up the hill. And I'm an excellent stick shift driver in San Francisco. If you can drive a stick shift in San Francisco, you're a good driver. And so I was going up the hill. And it's a lost art. My boyfriend in high school taught me how to drive a stick shift. Chris Price. Thank you, Chris. And I pretend to go backwards. I'm like, oh no. And they're like, Mom. And I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. They're like, put your hands on the wheel.
I love that story. I guess one follow-up then, since we have the time, is, you said your views on the military surprised people. Does your love for country music do the same?
It does. I like literally, I'm super patriotic. I think they're surprised that I know country music. They'll make a reference like, you don't know this. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Of course I know this. And so I think you have to surprise people that you're not like a San Francisco liberal lesbian loves country music and want to be in the military. Well, that's surprising. And I think what we do right now, because of propaganda and because of where politics have gone, is that we think we're not alike when in fact we're different, but surprising, different in ways that we don't think so. And so I think that's one of the things we have to get back, this idea that maybe we're all a little more complex than we think. This is not about children's books, but Dr. Seuss, maybe things are, Dr. Seuss's themes are often about how maybe things are a little more complex than they seem.
So your next song takes us to Hawaii.
Yes.
Why?
I love Hawaii more than any place on earth. I've traveled the world. I went there and I felt like I had been there my whole life. You know what I mean? There's certain places you go and you're like, oh, yes, here I am. I just love Hawaii. And this song, I just think is beautiful. I just love Hawaiian music and real Hawaiian music. And I like Don Ho, by the way. Who's not to like Don Ho, Tiny Bubbles and whatever. But this one is just beautiful. And this is, I can't pronounce his name, Dennis.
Yep, Dennis Kamakahi.
Anyway, he's well known for the slack key guitar. And I love everything he does.
Here's Dennis Kamakahi's Wahine Ilikea.
I just love this song, and it reminds me of the islands. And, I actually read a lot of history of that. It's quite violent, right? But even before the missionaries got there, like these incredible societies. I mean, we now Moana-ized it, which I have to also listen to all the time. But place is important in songs to me, and it reminds me of Hawaii.
Kara, you have this incredible public identity as this amazing tech journalist, media entrepreneur, but I can hear in this conversation you also identify so strongly as a mother and a parent.
100%.
What does it mean to you to be the mom of 4?
Oh, it's the best thing I ever did. I always wanted to have kids since I was a young person. And especially being gay, people said you couldn't. And I was like, oh, I'm going to. Sorry, my friends. And I just think they're really fine young people so far. Like my 2 older sons are just really, I think, spectacular human beings. I'm part of that. I've been part of that, important part. So is my ex-wife. And they're just good men. I've raised some good men, which we need more of, right? I really think they're just good people, and I feel good about leaving them here when I go. And so I was in my late 50s when I just had these new kids. And during COVID, what did you do? And I'm so happy to have younger kids. I think they're wonderful, and they all get along. That's my favorite part, is they're really a gang of troublemakers. It's so great to think about what you leave behind, and I leave behind these really great children.
Kara, I love that you're wearing a hat right now that says Michigan Dad.
I have NYU Dad, too. I switch between them. But it's true. I got to tell you, when I wear both of them, people love fucking Michigan. It's crazy. It's crazy. They're like, go blue. I'm like, what?
You mentioned a couple times feeling like you've raised kids that will be okay and be good people when you're gone. And the last song you chose, Quarter Moon by Cheryl Wheeler, is sort of about death and in some ways, right?
It's about death. It's about the passing. And it's about, again, people that didn't, it probably does remind me of my grandmother. She wasn't a gardener. But it's about, it's about gardening. It's about gardening. I'm not a gardener, but I've always read gardening columns. And there was a great column in the Washington Post by a guy named Henry Mitchell. It wasn't about gardening. It was about life and death, right? It was about renewal. And some of my favorite poems are, there's one about a garden. They're often about gardens and stuff like that. And I just love this. I love Cheryl Wheeler, first of all. Again, folk music, lesbian. She's a wonderful songwriter, tells wonderful stories, and she's also very funny. She does a lot of funny songs, but also incredibly sad breakup songs. And she just tells wonderful stories, and they drag you in. Most people love Arrow from her. That was one of her big hits. But I love this song. I just love this idea of these older people living their life out in this yard. That's where they are, and leaving behind a legacy that maybe no one will notice, but was there.
They seem to know each other very well. They speak across the garden, but not a soul could tell. They can read the summer sky and they can hear the back road swell. And they seem to know each other very well.
It's a beautiful song. Again, it's corny in a lot of ways, but I love Cheryl Wheeler's voice. I've been to a lot of her concerts. I think she's another undersung singer, songwriter. This song is beautiful. It's like they seem to know each other very well. It's just a simple line. It's also beautiful. She's a beautiful writer too, which I appreciate. There's a line essentially about waiting for the sunset from an old and ancient dawn, meaning these are people about, they've lived their lives essentially. But it's a very happy song, even though it's a sad song. It's a song about legacy, and I think I love that song.
We started this conversation with me declaring that you're no nonsense, and you are. I've seen that side of you, but you're a bit of a softie.
I'm very sentimental. I'm a softie when it comes to songs, absolutely. Not when it comes to Elon fucking Musk. He should go to Rocket Man. Go for it. Get to Mars and leave us the fuck alone. Anyway, yeah.
Thank you for showing the softer side of Kara Swisher.
No problem. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Thanks, Sophie.
Life in 7 Songs is a production from the San Francisco Standard. This episode was produced by Michelle Lands and our senior producer, Jasmine Morris. Our executive producers are Griffin Gaffney and John Steinberg. This episode was mixed by Michelle Lands. Our theme music is by Kate Davis and Zubin Hensler, and Clark Miller created our show art. Our music consultant is Sera Tembekshian. You can find Kara Swisher's full playlist at sf.news/Spotify. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.